Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I have a question for you. What's the most challenging time for high school students? You guessed it, senior year and applying to schools. Senior year and applying for universities is very hard because the key thing that spooks students is ensuring that you choose the right university that fits your goals and expectations. However, our consulting firm, Orbovic and Co, has compiled this documentary to discuss and analyze the main aspects that drive rising college students. After a litany of sample studies, research, and informational interviews with our fellow international colleagues here at Dauphine, we have discerned the three most important factors that students think of when applying for universities.
Academic reputation. Cost.
Make it rain. Location.
But is that really all?
As we venture further through this documentary, we will delve deeply into those three factors as well as an array of other factors you might not have considered. However, before we go any further, we would like to give you some background on the stage of our lives where we were in the same position as you, before we were world-class consultants and partners at Orbovic and Co.
When I was deciding on a school, I honestly really wanted to go to a small community I could get really close to, and I applied to a bunch of small liberal arts schools. And when it came down to the wire and I was picking my applications and looking at all the opportunities, I realized last minute that the biggest opportunities and the best experience that I was going to get was the state school that was right next to me, because they were going to offer me more, give me financial aid, and lucky enough, I was able to find a small community within a large one, and it was fantastic.
Hello, I was born and raised up in Spain. I went to an English school back home. When it came to university, I was all over the place. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Therefore, I asked for my tutor's advice, and they really pushed me to the idea to move to the UK. So I had a different options, 5 different universities in England. However, I really wanted to go to London because the program really suited my necessities, and I really wanted to go to a big city, move from my parents, have new experiences and everything. So I'm really glad I chose London.
Orbovic consultant. Welcome to my firm.
Oh, hey CEO Orbovic.
Hello. So I chose my school in Toronto from Canada, Schulich School of Business. It's supposedly one of the most prestigious business schools. For me, reputation was number one, then cost for tuition, and finally location. So for me this was important because it meant my parents wouldn't be spending a lot of money on me living outside of Toronto. So.
She's really smart.
Yes.
I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia in the US, and I ended up going to school about 3 hours away in Columbia, South Carolina. I applied to 2 schools, Georgia Tech in Atlanta in South Carolina, and Columbia, South Carolina. And after receiving scholarships from both, I always wanted to go to South Carolina. And my international business program there was number 1 in the country. So that's really what led me to go to South Carolina, as well as my parents both have been going there.
Now let's introduce our topic of research: why students choose a post-secondary institution. We will discuss what drives, motivates, and influences students to choose a college or university. So let's start off with our outline of our methodology. Initially, we conducted an online survey to provide a basis for our primary research consisting of 83 responses. We then held in-depth interviews with 10 international students that already completed the preliminary survey online. In this interview, we asked more behavioral type questions. Finally, we looked at secondary research consisting of statistics and academic journal content to help support our topic. Let's begin with our findings from our primary research. Our preliminary survey covered the following questions. Level of enrollment showed that 80% of the respondents were upper year students. Respondents answered that the 3 dominant factors that were important in decision making were as followed. Number 1, academic reputation. Number 2, cost. And lastly, location.
So what were the top 3 factors you considered when choosing that university?
I would say the prestigious of the program, location, and the cost.
The next area that we looked at is whether enough information was provided while in the process of decision making. Respondents agreed that 82% of them had adequate information and that it was important in their decision making process. Next area is whether it was a difficult choice and their satisfaction level.
How long did it take you to make that decision and why?
It didn't take me long because from the beginning I thought I knew that I wanted to be in a big city as London.
Respondents agreed that 47% said it was a difficult decision, and 53% that said they were satisfied with their decision that they made. And finally, whether school facilities and extracurriculars were important in their search. 80% said that they believed facilities such as library and school facilities, as well as extracurriculars, were important in their decision making. Next, we conducted an in-depth interview with a variety of exchange students using the example of their exchange school. The survey went through the following questions. Who influenced their decision in choosing a university?
Did anyone influence your choice, for example, friends or family?
Yeah, of course. My parents influenced a lot in my decision. They told me that there's a good one, it wasn't being that costly, and my friends were going to that university too, so that influenced.
Did anyone such as your family or friends influence your decision at all, and if so, why?
Yeah, my parents really wanted me to go to the university that I am going to now. Yeah.
Respondents answered with mostly family, then friends, and then community. Next, we asked, did they have a narrow set of choices, or if they expanded their set using additional and external research? For the most part, respondents said that they initially had a narrow set. They researched extra, and then also broadened their initial set. Next question, did it take a long time to make a decision?
And how long would you say it took you to make that decision?
30 minutes.
Oh, wow, okay.
For the most part, respondents answered, researching took a lot of time, but the decision itself did not. Next, how do you think your university will benefit you? The majority of the respondents answered with reputation, this meaning affiliation that comes with the university name. Next, we looked at what personality type our respondents were. For the most part, we got either A, B, or a combination of both.
Well, I consider myself more type A.
I would say definitely type A.
I would say I'm more type B.
Okay.
I guess it depends for me in general. Like for socially wise, I guess type B, but for academic work, it's type A.
And finally, we asked for them to rank the groups that influenced their decision the most amongst individual, family, community, and group. For the most part, respondents believe that individual and family were number one. We did, however, find a correlation between the personality type and their ranking choices. And finally, we looked at the needs that the university fulfills for the student itself. Now let's analyze our results using components of consumer behavior. Now, how does this information benefit universities?
By thinking of institutions as brands, how do marketers adapt to appeal to future students? Data for university recruitment offices. Facilities to impress prospective students. Improved reputation and rankings. Driving down costs. Educating parents.
In order to tackle the topic of why students choose a university, it is important to understand the decision-making process behind the student's evaluation of alternatives and their final decision. Firstly, we start off with identifying who the consumer is. In this context, we have two consumers. Number one, the student, is the user who consumes the service. And number two is the parents, who in this case we assume are financially supporting the student, who are both buyer and payer. From our initial survey results, we noticed that parents influence the primary consumer's decision. Therefore, they are an important consumer. From our in-depth interview, the results show that students that replied to being type A personality are more likely to be influenced by the individual level or the self-needs, versus type B students are more likely influenced by external stimuli, such as family, community, and group level. Now that we've identified the consumer, we begin with the problem recognition stage. At this point, the primary consumer, who is a student, struggles with the following questions. What school to choose? What suits my needs best? What will benefit me the most, and will it be the right decision? And in answering these questions, the perception of the student is crucial. Although perception is subjective from consumer to consumer, institutional ranking and academic reputation help solidify the perception of a good decision in the consumer's mind. The Based on our primary research from the surveys, 82% of respondents agree that adequate information was crucial to making the right decision. The consumer's involvement in doing external research also relates to moving university options from the awareness set to the consideration set, where they are more likely to purchase the service. Next, in the alternative evaluation stage, urgency in meeting the psychological and self-esteem needs of prospective students increases the chances that they will choose the option that will benefit them the most. In this stage, consumers practice approach-approach conflict method, in which they must choose between two or more desirable alternatives. The more broad their set of options are, the more urgency, and the tighter the conflict of choosing a desirable outcome. In the purchase stage, the primary consumer makes the final decision, that which must benefit the self, specifically by closing the gap between the actual, present self and ideal, assuming post-purchase self. The measure of this is based on the primary research results, which indicate that students choose a school firstly based on academic reputation, which relates to their affiliation to a group they believe fulfills their self-esteem need and promotes status and power. Finally, in the post-purchase stage, 53% of our respondents from the preliminary survey agreed that they were content with their choice of university. In this stage, success is measured using the expectancy theory, in that students expect to get a good job, relating to achieving a positive future incentive as a benefit for having made that choice, and this choice having been the right choice of university.
But now it's time to make a decision. So, how are institutions going to help me make this decision? Enough information will allow students to fulfill the necessity and the urgency to begin this process. The three factors that we found out show that students consider the fact of avoiding conflict by prioritizing adequate location and cost. Facilities and extracurricular activities satisfy the need of belonging for students.
We're so close! There comes a difference when you have a type A and a type B personality. Type A is more likely to rush the decision and be less influenced by external stimuli.
However, Type B personality will tend to listen to other people, such as friends and family. They like to have external influence.
What should I do? When considering my extended self, my institution needs to convince me that by entering this community level, it'll be welcoming to how I feel on a group level and develop who I am and my values on an individual level.
Feeling that I belong makes me a loyal consumer and a loyal student. Consumer lifetime value is all the way up.
All the way up.